and welcome to Game & Read. We're here today to introduce our March pairing that is all about Batman. We will be playing Batman Arkham Asylum and reading 3 Batman comics. Arkham Asylum, A Serious House on Serious Earth by Grant Morrison and Dave McKean. Arkham Asylum Living Hell by Dan Slott and Ryan Sook. And Arkham Manor by Jerry Duggan and Sean Crystal. We're doing this month's pairing with our friend Nick over at Things We Watch blog and podcast, and he'll be part of our discussion conversation in a couple weeks. So I'm here to introduce the game, and then Peter is going to tell you all about the comics. The game we are playing is Batman Arkham Asylum. It came out in 2009 and was developed by Rocksteady and published by Eidos and Warner Brothers. In Batman Arkham Asylum, Batman is stuck on the Asylum Island after the Joker leads a revolt and takeover of the asylum. Batman must then go up against inmates like the Scarecrow, Killer Croc, and Bane to rescue the asylum's living employees and thwart Joker's plans. When it came out in 2009, Batman Arkham Asylum was highly praised by critics. IGN called it the greatest comic book video game of all time, and the magazine Game Informer said it delivered an adventure unlike any other. Batman Arkham Asylum won many awards, including Best Action Adventure Video Game and Best Game of the Year from multiple video game outlets. The AV Club also put it as #1 on its top 10 list of games for that year. I won't say much more. We don't want to give anything else away about the game, but that is a quick introduction to Batman Arkham Asylum. And now to turn it over to Peter to talk about our comics.
As Aaron said, this month we have 3 books we will be pairing together with the game. None of them are especially long, and they all explore Arkham Asylum and the concept of the Arkham Asylum mental institution in different interesting ways. So the first one we are talking about is the titular Arkham Asylum Serious House on a Serious Earth, published in 1989 as a standalone comic of itself. It's not especially long, and it is actually very similar in its initial premise to Arkham Asylum, the 2009 video game, in that Batman is responding to a prisoner riot, a patient riot at Arkham Asylum, and it is being head and led by the Joker. And while it isn't as focus-based as the video game is, it delves deeper into the concept of madness and the insanity of the asylum than I think Arkham Asylum, the video game, does. And a lot of that is through Dave McKean's art. Dave McKean uses this mixed media artwork, which includes photography, drawing, I think some painting. It's a little hard to tell. It's all over the place. You're not really sure how each individual part was put together, but it paints this very interesting picture, and I think it does more for the storytelling than the actual words of the story. I think if you had a more regular illustration, it wouldn't say quite as much as it does with this particular style, and I think that says a lot to how the comics work and how it will all fit together. Additionally, the lettering by, I'm looking this name right now, Gaspar Saladino, is impeccable. He really set up effectively voices for each individual character just based on how he lettered their words. You can barely understand the Joker, and it is a strong sign of his own insanity and his own inflection, as well as Batman has a very distinct typeface. And it's just, I guess it wasn't even typeface, it was written letters. But it is, each character has their own way of speaking through these letters, and it is really incredible. We'll go into more detail about what I think about this. I think you kind of get the picture of what I'm saying, but it's a really interesting comic book, and I look forward to reading about it. The second one we have, which is Arkham Asylum Living Hell, was published as a 6-issue miniseries in 2004. This tells the story, Batman's barely in this book. It tells the story of Warren White, a financial criminal, a sort of Bernie Madoff type, but younger, and he is convicted of this huge financial fraud case, but he somehow convinces the jury to accept his plea of insanity, and he soon learns that being insane in Gotham is probably much, much worse than being put in an asylum anywhere else. And he is placed into Arkham Asylum, a home for seriously deranged criminal minds who are more dangerous than your average mental patients, I am sure. And he soon realizes that he has made a grave mistake. So he is the point of view character in this particular story. However, it does delve deeply into new characters that it introduces, such as Humpty Dumpty, Jane Doe, Doodlebug, a few others. There are a couple of old favorites in there. I know Two-Face makes a strong appearance, but this was really a chance for the creators to introduce a lot of new characters into the Batman of that time, as sort of more minor in the rogues gallery, but definitely fitting of that Arkham Asylum feel to them, where the insanity is distinctly tied to their crimes. And really it ends up being quite a large menagerie of people that you encounter in this 6-issue series. It does take a very interesting turn towards the end. We will be talking all in the spoiler zone, in the podcast and the next video, but it definitely went somewhere I didn't think it would. I don't know if I would call it the best ending, but it was definitely different than what I would expect from a Batman World Arkham Asylum comic. And then finally, the third comic we will be talking about is Arkham Manor, put out in 2014, another 6-issue miniseries. This takes place somewhere in the New 52 universe, I believe. I'm not super well versed in the DC multiverses, but in this particular one, the Gotham City Arkham Asylum has been destroyed. Don't know why, don't know how, and the city is in need of a new asylum. So they are looking for somewhere to go, and they end up going with Wayne Manor after Bruce Wayne had apparently lost all of his money sometime in this universe. Once again, I'm not entirely sure. However, murders start to pop up during the new transition into Arkham Manor Asylum, Wayne Manor Arkham Asylum, whatever you want to call it, and Batman decides that he needs to go undercover as a patient to solve these crimes and figure out what's going on. And it really is interesting because, I mean, it was an alright comic, but I thought the most interesting thing about this was that the sort of supernatural insanity that travels around with the Arkham Asylum name doesn't seem to be tied to geography anymore. It follows into this new space and kind of how that name and that legacy will take over this building. Once again, we'll get more into that when we do the big discussion in a couple weeks, but I thought it fit pretty well with everything together, so I guess that's a little preview of what's to come. So that is all I have to say on these comics. If you like this, you can see all of our other blog posts, videos, podcasts on GameandRead.com. Additionally, you can follow us on social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Litzy at Game and Read. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.